This is the step-by-step dry and style routine I follow on wash days as somebody who prioritizes healthy hair, but at the same time, still likes to enjoy the perks of heat styling. I am definitely not one of those creators that basically keeps their hair in a virgin state, never uses heat, never uses color. While I would love to be able to do that, I don't like my natural hair color and I don't like the way that my hair dries when I just roughly blow dry it and don't style it. I love a fresh blowout, I love fresh color, I love having freshly washed and curled hair. What can I say? I like girly things. So knowing that giving up those things is just not realistic for me, I have been very careful to meticulously curate my hair care routines to make sure that my hair is as healthy as possible, knowing that I am somebody that damages my hair with color and heat. And I'm not stopping. So I have already walked you guys through every other step of my hair care routine in detail. If you have not seen those videos or maybe you missed one or two, I will have my playlist linked below where I have all of my updated step-by-step hair care routines. In that playlist, you'll find my routines for hair oiling, shampoo, conditioner and hair masks, bond repair, and leave-ins. And you'll find this video there as well because this is officially the last installment in that step-by-step wash day routine series. So without further ado, let's dive into how I dry and style my hair on wash days. I used to be one of those people that didn't really put much thought to the way that I dried my hair. I would throw it up in a regular towel for a couple of hours and then eventually blow dry it, but that is definitely not the way to go. Now, the goal of my drying routine is to reduce damage as much as possible, and the drying process that I just explained is definitely not the least damaging way to dry your hair. What I have found is that if I'm really intentional with the way that I towel dry my hair, that can shorten the drying process by literal hours and also reduce overall damage because I don't have to blow dry as long. So once my wash process is complete and I've shut the water off in the shower, I am ready to start towel drying, and I actually do that in two different steps. The first step in that process is to try to squeeze as much excess water from my hair as possible. So of course, I start off by doing this with my hands first. I split my hair into two sections and then I will just gently squeeze each section of hair to get as much water out as possible. When I hit the point where I can't get any more water out with my hands, I will reach for a microfiber towel and repeat that exact same process. I have actually been using this microfiber towel for years at this point. It's held up so well. It's super affordable, just an Amazon find, so I will be sure to link this below. So keeping my hair split into two sections, I again will start to squeeze my hair gently, but this time with a towel in my hand. If you are someone that typically only squeezes your hair with your hands and then you get out of the shower, you'll probably be surprised by how much water absorbs in this towel. The microfiber material really helps with that because it's extra absorbent, so it'll just get even more water out that you didn't even know was there. I even like to further split each section into two more sections, so like splitting each half and half. Again, just to squeeze as much excess water out as possible so that I have less water in my hair, which allows my hair to dry more quickly. Once this towel is pretty much soaking wet and there's really nothing else that I can squeeze out from my hair, I will put my hair up in a microfiber towel wrap. This is especially helpful for drying the hair on the top of my head more quickly because that's obviously something that you can't really get at by squeezing in the way that you can with your lengths and ends. So I probably leave my hair wrapped up in this towel for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then at that point the towel is completely damp from absorbing the water from the top of my head. Then I take my hair out of that wet towel wrap and I'm ready to apply my leave-ins and start the air drying process. I won't dive into the explanation of leave-in products in this video because I just did that in my leave-in routine video. So again, that is going to be listed and linked in my description box below, but at a high level, I'm always using my Living Proof Triple Bond Complex hair strengthener first. After that, I am always using a leave-in conditioning spray that also has added heat protection, and sometimes I am adding a style hold product. After applying all of those leave-ins, again, I let my hair start to air dry, and I do that until my hair is about 80% dry. So there's like 20% left over that I still need to tackle with a blow dryer. I feel like I won't be alone in this. I absolutely cannot stand how it feels to just have my hair down and wet while it's air drying, like to just leave it down like this. It's cold, it gets my shirt wet, it's just like, it's not comfortable. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. So I've experimented with a few different methods for getting my hair off of my body, but still having it down as much as possible, because obviously if you were to like clip your hair up in a claw clip bun, then your hair's not gonna dry as quickly. I've also tried just pulling my hair back in a ponytail, but because I have fine hair strands, my hair creases really easily, so I have to be careful with with that. So what has worked best for me is pulling my hair into a ponytail, but instead of securing it with a hair tie, securing it with this buckle clip. This is an Amazon find. It comes in a pack of a bunch of neutral colors, and I now have them all over my house because I am constantly pulling my hair back into them. I do have to kind of finagle with it a little bit because I have a lot of hair, so I have to kind of like shove it in to get it to be able to close, but I can eventually clip it shut, and then my hair is just pulled off of my body, but down, so that I can air dry as fast as possible with the least discomfort possible. Once my hair is about 80% dry, I am ready to start my detangling / brushing process. I always use a brush that has a combination of nylon pins and boar bristles. And I just posted a giant hairbrush showdown last week, so if you would like to know my favorite brushes that have that kind of setup, my top recommendations for brushes that cause the least amount of damage, definitely check that video out, again listed below. I really take my time with the brushing process. It can be kind of tedious because it can take a while, but it's totally worth it because this is the step in your hair care routine where you are the most likely to cause breakage. Unless you're someone that really manipulates your hair while styling it, like let's say with a round brush where you're pulling and tugging, or one of those blow dryer brushes, then you'll probably end up with even more breakage from those steps, but brushing is definitely one of the worst offenders of breakage and damage. So this is the process I follow to try to minimize that as best as possible. First is splitting my hair into pretty small sections. I will typically just clip my hair up with some sort of claw clip so that it's out of the way and I can just focus on one small section at a time. Because my hair is in such a healthier state than it used to be, my hair is not nearly as tangly, but when I had really bad bleach damage, my hair was a snarled, knotted mess every single time I washed it. So I had to spend a lot of time detangling knots with my fingers first before even going in with a brush. If you're someone that has really tangly hair, I would highly recommend doing that because if your brush catches on those tangles, that is where it is most likely to cause breakage. So I usually don't have to do much of that now, but if I do notice any knots in the sections that I pull down, then I will try to loosen those with my fingers first and then go in with my brush. I brush my hair from the ends to the roots, or like the bottom to the top, and that is very intentional. It's to try to minimize as many longer segment breaks as possible, which is more likely to happen if you start detangling at the root and work to the end. Because if your brush catches on a tangle at the top of your head, then it can break your hair at the top of your head. As I'm working my brush through my hair, I don't just like tug it straight through. I kind of bounce it, as weird as that sounds. I just try to be as gentle as possible with the way that I brush my hair through my head, because again, if I were to just pull it straight through, it would be more likely to catch and break. And I have found that that motion that I do, bouncing is probably not the right word, but I can't think of a better word to describe it. That motion is a lot more gentle on my hair and less likely to cause snapping. I also try to always hold onto my hair above the point where I'm detangling it. So like if I'm detangling this section right here, I will hold my hair right above it. I don't have any scientific data to back this up, but I swear that makes it less likely for my hair to break higher up or pull out of my head. Because something about holding it here makes it so that if there's pulling, it's like not happening up here. Again, I don't have scientific data for this, but I can literally feel a difference in my scalp. There's so much more tugging if I don't do that. So I keep following that same process as I work towards my roots, and then if my brush happens to catch on any part of my hair, I don't just yank it through. I put my brush down, loosen it with my fingers first, and then continue brushing. And then I just repeat that with several small sections until my entire head of hair is brushed through. Again, I know that that's a really tedious process, especially for someone that has really tangled hair. Like the amount of time it used to take me to detangle when I had really bad bleach damage, oh my God. But that process alone is something that can significantly reduce the amount of breakage that you have. So it's worth it for me. Now I am ready to blow dry. If you have kept up with my Repernizer journey, then you will know that this is a dryer that I really love and I use all the time. Like now that I've spent the money on this, I'm of course gonna use it. I wanna get my money's worth. But this is absurdly expensive and I will never tell anybody that they need to buy something like this. So I would say that if I had to pick a dryer that I prefer the most, second to that, I would say okay, hold on, I'm tangled. In general, I have had the best experiences with Shark dryers. I own both the Dyson hair dryer and Dyson Airwrap. I have the Shark Speed Style. I have the Shark, this is actually the new Flex Fusion. So it's like the next edition of their original Flex Style. The difference with this one is that it not only has the curling barrel attachments and a round brush attachment, this one's actually up upgraded to have like a cool volume setting. Not setting, that's not the right word. Like volume, design. That's the word I'm looking for. It also has a straightener attachment that has both an air straightener setting and then like a hot plated setting. But either way, it's the exact same kind of dryer as the Speed Style or Speed Styler. I don't know the official name. So whether you're interested in just the dryer or the entire styling system, this hair dryer is amazing. It's really powerful, so I can dry my hair quickly, but I also get a nice, smooth, sleek, frizz-free result with it. And that is not the experience that I had with the original Dyson dryer. They have since come out with an attachment that's a separate purchase that helps to kind of fix that issue. I think it's like the gentle hair attachment, but without that, that dryer made my hair so poofy and frizzy. It looked fried, like so damaged. And that has never happened to me with Shark dryers. So I definitely prefer Shark to the Dyson Supersonic dryer. Obviously the Dyson Airwrap has a dryer as well, and that one is good, but I still prefer Shark. I feel like it's more powerful. I can dry more quickly. My hair is smoother and sleeker. I don't have to use all of these extra attachments to get it to look smooth and sleek like I do with Dyson. So Shark is just my preference of the two, but obviously there are other hair dryers out there. There are options that are less expensive than both Dyson and Shark. So do what works best for you. As of right now, I don't really have a ton of other dryer recommendations because of the fact that I spent 6+ months testing out the Repronizer. So that kind of took up any extra space I had to test out different hair dryers. If there are dryers that you would like me to try and review, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I can eventually just do like a mega hair dryer review. There is another one that I'm not including because I don't know if it's going to be live yet at the time that this video goes up. It's the L'Oreal Airlight Pro, their new infrared hair dryer. That I got to test out ahead of time, and that is incredible. Like even smoother, sleeker results than with Shark. It looked like I literally straightened my hair after I used it. So if that launch has happened by the time that this video goes up, that one also gets my stamp of approval. That one is incredible. But other than that, again, let me know if there's anything else you want me to test out, and I would be happy to do that. All right, back to the drying and styling process. So when I am drying my hair, I am pretty much almost always just roughly blow drying it. And what I mean by that is that I'm not using any sort of brush or tool to style my hair at the same time. So no round brush, no paddle brush, no vented brush, nothing like that. I'm just like using my fingers to bounce my hair around and then, you know, move the dryer roughly, I guess. Why is it called rough drying? Is that even a thing people say? Why do I say that? I don't know. That's just what I've always said to indicate the fact that I'm just drying with the dryer in my fingers. The other thing I do while blow drying is I'll kind of like flip my roots back and forth. That is a trick a stylist taught me years and years ago to add extra volume. So I'll flip my hair over to the opposite sides. I'll flip my head upside down, and I'm just, again, roughly blow drying, for lack of a better term, with the main goal being, of course, drying my hair, but making sure that the hair on the top of my head, like my scalp, is completely dry. If I do not do that, my hair is much more likely to look greasy more quickly. What I do next after I have finished blow drying is really just up to how much energy I have and what I'm in the mood for, because there are a lot of days where I wash and dry and I'm like, that's it. I don't have the energy to style. I am done. That can be done the next day. So sometimes I will just leave my hair after I rough blow dry it and save the styling for the next day. And the way I style my hair the next day will either be with a curling barrel or some sort of multi-attachment tool like the Shark Flex Fusion or Dyson Airwrap. If I go the Dyson/Shark route, I will always re-wet my hair with water. I'll just use a mister bottle and re-wet the lengths of my hair so that it's damp when it's being pulled into the styler. If I don't do that, the curls fall in less than 30 seconds, so that is a must for me to actually get those styles to last. But if I am using one of those tools on the same day that I wash my hair, then I'll just roughly blow dry the top of my head and avoid the ends so that they stay damp for that styling process. And if I'm using a curling iron, of course, I will make sure that my hair is completely blow dried all the way before going in with them. Again, I am still using and loving the Hair Buron, but for those of you that are not interested in spending a disgusting amount of money on something like that, I was previously using the T3 Switch Kit and really loving it. I have been testing out other curling irons and I haven't had much luck yet. I am dying to find a curling iron that is actually reasonably priced that gives me curls that last as long as they do with the Hair Buron, but so far I haven't had any luck. So again, if there are any curling irons that you want me to test out, let me know. And the last thing I can't forget to mention is that if I am heat styling dry hair, so like styling it the day after I wash it or even 2 days after, then I will apply some sort of dry aerosol heat protectant. More often than not, it is this one from Living Proof. It's the Perfect Hair Day Heat Styling Spray, my absolute favorite. It makes my hair really soft and smooth, unlike so many others like this. And with that, I think we are ready to move on to all of the questions that you guys had me about drying and styling, my routines, hair health with these routines in general. So let's move on to that. Number one, how often do you heat style your hair? I currently wash my hair 3 times a week, and I blow dry my hair every single time that I wash it, no matter what. So that means I am heat drying my hair 3 times a week always. But for heated styling tools like a curling iron or the Dyson Airwrap, I would say I'm using those closer to 2 times a week. Sometimes I do use them 3 times a week, but usually I have a wash day where I just rough blow dry and I don't style my hair at all. And then I'll kind of just like always have it up in some sort of claw clip so that it's not hanging limp, which is what it does if I blow dry and don't style. Number 2, does heat protectant really work? Yes, it does. There are actually ingredients that are heat resistant, like silicones, and those are often the ingredients that you will find in heat protectants. And the way that those kinds of ingredients work to protect our hair from heat is by allowing the heat to spread across our hair fiber. Without that, you're a lot more likely to have kind of like hot spots, if you will, that get really hot really quickly and can actually burn your hair. But keep in mind it's called a heat protectant and not a heat shield. Heat protectant isn't some sort of shield on your hair that makes it so that you don't get any damage from using heat. It's just that it helps to minimize damage and again prevent those hot spots and burns. Number 3, what are all of the heat protectants that I use? Is it just Pureology? Sometimes yes, I am just using Pureology or another leave-in conditioning spray that has added heat protection so that I don't need to use a separate product and I can just cover that base in that one spray. But again, if my hair is already dry, then I would have that leave-in conditioning heat protectant spray in it already, and then I will go on top of that with a dry aerosol spray like this one from Living Proof for added heat protection. What order should you apply heat protectant? If you are using 2 separate products for leave-in conditioning and detangling and then heat protection, I would apply the leave-in conditioner first and then the heat protectant after that. Can you put heat protectant on dry hair? If yes, what do I recommend? 100% yes, you can apply heat protection to dry hair, and the product that you use is really up to personal preference. If you want to use some sort of leave-in spray like Pureology or something else that's a wet mist, you can do that. I personally don't anymore because I found that it just usually made my hair texture feel kind of funky, like I had a lot of buildup in it. I have had, knocking things over. I have had much better results with a dry aerosol heat protectant on dry hair because it just doesn't give me that gunky feeling. Do you need to reapply heat protectant after blow drying and before curling? So this is something that keeps me up at night because as I was writing down all the steps that I follow, I realized that it doesn't really make sense that I am applying a dry aerosol spray only if it's on the day that I didn't wash my hair. In theory, there shouldn't be a need to reapply heat protection after blow drying and before using a hot styling tool because that heat protectant is already coated on your hair. It doesn't disappear by applying heat with a blow dryer. But even if you don't technically need it, I do think that you're more likely to get better heat protection if you do apply another one in between blow drying and styling, because of the fact that if you're applying a heat protectant on hair that is a little bit tangled like I do before I detangle, then obviously all of my strands, I'm starting to be like, why don't I apply heat protectant again? Because strands will ultimately be neglected when you're spraying on tangled hair. Like that's just the way it works. If you want your hair to be as evenly coated as possible on as many strands as possible, you want your hair to be laying flat as possible. So it would make sense that if you really want to protect your hair from heat as best as possible, that you would apply that leave-in with heat protection, dry, then once it's brushed through, laying flat, reapply heat protection with something like this. I'm questioning everything right now. Obviously, that is not something that I have done up to this point, and my hair, you know, you guys have seen the evolution, has gone from very damaged to the state that it's in now. So what I have done has worked for me, but what I would say is if you want to double down on heat protection and just make sure that you're as protected as possible, it would make sense to take that extra step. And I'm probably gonna start doing that every single time I style my hair now from here on out. Look at us, evolving together.
Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Next, how do you avoid heat damage while styling? Again, there's nothing that you can do to completely eliminate heat damage if you are using hot styling tools, but I think the best things that you can do are to apply heat protection and use your styling tools on the lowest heat you're able to while still getting the results that you want to get. Again, I'm not someone that doesn't use heat on my hair. I recognize the fact that you get better results to a point and your style lasts longer if your tool is hotter. So I just try to lower the heat where I can and as much as it makes sense for the type of tool that I'm using. And the last thing that you can try to do to reduce the amount of heat damage that you get is not holding your hot styling tool on a section of hair for a super long time. So that could be a curling iron, that could be a straightener, that could even be a blow dryer. If you're sitting and holding that tool in one spot for an extended period of time, you're more likely to get excessive heat damage. Again, there's obviously a trade-off with that to get your styling tools to actually perform, but that's something that I would be mindful of, keeping that to a minimum where you can. What do you use to help hold your curls? This is a product category that I haven't done a ton of testing in, so I do plan to start doing that literally like my next wash day. I have some products I'm excited to try. There are two products that I've tried that I do really love for this that work well for me. The first is R&Co Grasp, which is a style hold shaping balm, and the second is the Oribe Tri-Set Structure Spray, and that one is a mousse. But obviously Oribe is really pricey, so that's why I want to test more options out, find some affordable options that work really well. So stay tuned for my thoughts on that, and if there are any style hold products you want me to test out, let me know in the comments below. Next, can I just sleep with wet/damp hair? Oh, I wouldn't. Our hair is most fragile when it's wet, so if we go to bed with our hair in that really fragile state, we're definitely just more likely to experience breakage. Second to last is how to avoid breakage or split ends when styling with a straightener. The best thing you can do is to find a straightener that glides through your hair more easily and doesn't clamp down on your hair really tightly. I rarely use straighteners, so I haven't really tried many that do that aside from the Dyson straightener. That is one where I was like, wow, I definitely feel a difference. It doesn't pull on my hair as much, and I think that that can really make or break literally your hair. Because if you're using a straightener that clamps down really tightly on your hair and then you're pulling that through your hair, that's just more likely to cause your hair to break. And last is how to reduce damage from blowouts / air stylers / thermal brushes. This is a good question to end on because I mentioned it earlier as being potentially the most damaging part of a drying and styling process. So there are a few different things I'd recommend here. The first is to roughly blow dry as much as you possibly can before going in with that blow dry brush or a round brush. And the reason for that, again, is because your hair is super fragile when it's wet. The second thing, of course, is to reduce the heat on your tool as much as you're able to. And last is to literally just be so slow and gentle. The faster and kind of like rougher you are with how you spin those brushes, whether it's attached to a dryer or is just a round brush, the more likely you are to end up with breaks and snaps. So move really gently, manipulate that brush really slowly, and make sure that you're not feeling any tugging from the root. I totally understand that some of you just have to use those tools to minimize frizz and they're just a part of your routine. So if that is the case, I totally get it. You know your hair best. Just try to be as gentle and slow as possible. All right, you guys, that is it for this video. I really hope you found this helpful. If there are any questions that I didn't answer in this video, drop them in the comments and I will try to get back to as many of you as possible. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. All of those things really help to support me, so I appreciate your support in doing that so much. Thank you for watching my videos. I love the freaking heck out of you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for my next one because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.